My name is Femi Felix Akinwasote. Welcome to today's topic. Previously, we looked at the major types of operating system, which are Linux, Mac operating systems, and the Windows operating system. We also looked at the differences between the Linux and the Windows operating system. We talked about the graphical user interface. We talked about how easy the graphical user interface is for the operators to use, because it uses the mouse, the keyboard, it uses graphics, and also the text. We talk about the command line interface, which only takes command from the keyboard and then put it in text format in a line keyboard. We also looked at the way to install Linux using VADA. Today we will learn the shell program. The shell is a program that takes keyboard commands and passes them to the operating system to carry out. What we are saying is that the shell has its own fundamental uses. It has its own fundamental uses. It takes commands, it's a program that takes command from the keyboard and then passes them to the operating system. So in Linux, we have to use the shell. We have to use the shell, which is a program that passes information through the keyboard to the operating system. And when we are talking of this, we are going to look at the shell program called Bash. Bash is also an acronym for Bourne Again SHell. It is also an acronym for Bourne Again SHell. Before Bash invention, we use what we call the normal SH, which is shell, which is also used in Unix. But in Linux, we have to use what we are going to use today is called the Bash. Then we are also going to look at what we call the terminal emulator. Terminal emulator. We are going to look at what we call terminal emulator. Terminal emulator uses the graphical user interface, and it uses it to interact with the shell. When you want to interact with the shell, we use what we call the terminal emulator. Because when you are in the graphical user interface, let's say you have a Windows operating system, you have to install Linux, which we have dealt with previously, on the Windows and in the Windows operating system, which will now be used, which a terminal emulator will now open up, and you'll be able to type your command line in the terminal emulator, and this will bring out a text. So let us get to the real view at the Linux operating system.